Hi everybody. So my group members Bridget, Catherine, Andrew, and myself took a look at problem number 2 and took a look at some possible solutions from the parent perspective. Problem number 2 really took a look at considering technologies and how we can use technology to affect positive change when it comes to standardized testing. So we definitely all started by taking a look at this article by Popham, why standardized tests don't measure educational quality. And from there, we definitely continued on with lots of conversation and specifically looking at it through the lens of the parent and from the parent perspective. So considering first our initial questions, how can technology be used to help transform standardized assessment practices? And how can we leverage these technologies to affect positive change? My group members and I tried to identify really what was the main problem that we were looking at. From there, we took a look at what our desired outcome would be, how we would then cross that gap, and also what types of knowledge and resources did we have available to us. We took a look at the problem this way and tried to consider the various pieces and elements that existed and the relationships that they had between each other, between the current situation, the desired situation, the knowledge and the resources, as well as the role that we were taking. So from the parent perspective, what did we identify as the problem, and what was our problem statement in this situation? Well, we really felt as a group that the problem was that standardized testing is not authentic and meaningful assessment, and it's not serving the individual needs of our children. When considering this, I guess more specifically, the issue is that standardized testing is a one-size-fits-all type model, and it doesn't meet individual learning needs of the children. As a one-size-fits-all model, current standardized tests lack the complexity to incorporate and to consider individual learning needs. The other issue that we considered was that there's this tendency for education and for teachers to teach to the test, that it distracts from what we feel would actually be important and relevant to be taught in the classrooms. 21st century skills such as collaboration, communication, creativity, and critical thinking. So, aside from the fact that it's not an effective use of time and resources and money, it really would be providing a disservice to our children, because what's being focused on in the class is not something that we feel is valuable to them for their future. Well, considering what we identified to be the problem with standardized testing, or at least the way that it is currently, we took a look at what we felt was our desired outcome through the lens of the parents. And what we felt was our desired outcome was to use a method in the classrooms of authentically and meaningfully assessing our children in a way that was rich enough that would meet the individual needs of our children. It would be our hope that the method of assessment would be an accurate measure of student learning, and it would be an effective use of teacher resources, helping our children to focus on the 21st century skills that we feel would be important for them, such as critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, and communication. We would also hope that the results and the outcomes from the more meaningful and authentic assessment would be understood by parents more clearly, so that they could have a better understanding of their child's overall learning.
So the question is then, how do we cross this gap? We examined and considered the role of being a parent and realized that we would need to advocate for a less stressful, alternative, authentic assessment that would meet the needs of our individual children while giving us feedback that we as parents, caregivers, or guardians could follow through with at home. We would also need to advocate for a culture that values more than marks as part of this process. Technology could allow for this. One possibility could be the use of a serious educational game. It could align with 21st century learning, a focus on collaboration, critical thinking, communication, and creativity. It could be less stressful, meet the needs of children, be adaptive, and give feedback in a non-biased form. It could also give richer, more meaningful feedback and could make suggestions for strategies to teachers and parents or caregivers. It could also be used throughout the year, creating an online learning profile, which could also be sent or emailed to parents or caregivers. It might even be fun. What knowledge and resources do we need to cross this gap? Well, as parents, there are a lot of resources and knowledge available to support us. There is tech access to research about issues regarding standardized testing. There are parent organizations like People for Education with Annie Kidder, which are bringing together people with similar concerns, questions, and different ideas. There are a number of universities also doing research on standardized testing. We also have access to curricular information. We can also talk to teachers, politicians such as trustees, administrators, students, and also become more of an advocate for all the learners and become more informed. In a 2013 article in the Globe and Mail entitled "How Do Finnish Kids Excel Without Rote Learning and Standardized Testing?", Dr. Andy Hargraves, co-founder of the International Centre for Educational Change at the Ontario Institute for Studies and writer of the book The Fourth Way, The Inspiring Future for Educational Change, Hargraves explains that the reform movement gained full force in Canada in the 1990s. In an email quoted in the article, Dr. Hargraves states, "Following the lead of Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan, and before them, Augusto Pinochet of Chile, the movement set about centralizing more of the curriculum and introducing more testing to hold teachers accountable. It provided a new generation of consumer-oriented parents with information about the performance of schools and published rankings of schools to stimulate market competition between them. Instead of measuring what we value, we have got stuck in valuing what we can easily measure. Hopefully, using technology, we can shift into measuring what we value instead." In Ontario, the OSSLT, or the Ontario Secondary School Literacy Test, is going digital. Students in 2015 will have a chance to complete this test all online. This, however, appears to just be a digital copy of what is occurring now. It is merely a substitutive use of technology in keeping with Ruben Pentenduros's SAMR ideas. As a parent, I want more from technology. Collectively, we can redefine standardized testing.
So these are some of the thoughts that our group had regarding standardized testing and how technology might play a role in having a positive impact, taking a look at this from the parent perspective. If you have any thoughts or comments, please join in the conversation and post on our blog. We'd love to hear from you, and thanks for listening.